Being ruthless to things that don't matter. Reclaiming your life. On the Brevity of Life, Seneca writes,
How many have laid waste to your life when you weren't aware of what you were losing? How much was wasted in pointless grief, foolish joy, greedy desire, and social amusements? How little of your own was left to you? You will realize you are dying before your time. I am Seneca on the Brevity of Life.
In today's hyper-connected and ever-busy world, Seneca's ancient wisdom resonates more profoundly than ever. We find ourselves constantly responding to notifications, fulfilling social obligations, chasing fleeting pleasures, and worrying about matters beyond our control. The result? Our most precious resource, time, slips away, often without our conscious awareness. Being ruthless to things that don't matter isn't about coldness or callousness. Rather, it's about clarity and intentionality, recognizing the finite nature of our existence and choosing to invest our limited time in what truly matters. This video message explores how this philosophy applies to everyday life and offers practical strategies for reclaiming your time and, by extension, your life. Digital distractions is by far the largest and absolutely silent thief of time. Perhaps the most pervasive time waster in modern life is mindless scrolling through social media and news feeds. What begins as just 5 minutes often extends to hours of consumption that leaves us feeling empty rather than fulfilled. The average person spends nearly 2.5 hours daily on social media. That's over 900 hours per year, or nearly 38 complete days. And in all honesty, this is a very conservative estimate. The younger generation is most likely spending more than half their time, and some even losing their daily required sleep. Consider Maria, a graphic designer who often finds herself opening Instagram to check a specific post for inspiration, only to emerge an hour later having consumed dozens of unrelated useless posts, reels, and stories. At the end of each day, she wonders where her time went. By installing app timers and designating specific periods for social media use, Maria reclaimed nearly 2 hours daily, time she now spends developing her artistic skills and connecting with loved ones. The tyranny of email inbox is worse. Email has transformed from a communication tool to a perpetual source of anxiety. Many professionals spend their most productive morning hours checking and responding to emails, most of which aren't urgent or important. Many even are pure junk and worthless advertisements and solicitations. Take James, a marketing executive who began each day responding to every email in his inbox. After realizing this habit was consuming his peak creative hours, he implemented a ruthless email strategy, checking his emails only 3 times daily, immediately deleting promotional content, using templates for common responses, and flagging only those emails requiring thoughtful consideration. This simple shift allowed him to reclaim his mornings for strategic work that actually moved his career forward. Let's see what else is there. Oh yes, the guilt of incomplete to-do lists. Many of us create exhaustive to-do lists, then feel perpetual guilt and anxiety when we inevitably fail to complete them. This practice often stems from an inability to distinguish between the essential and the merely nice to have. Sarah, a working mother of 2, maintained daily to-do lists with 20-plus items. Each night, she'd feel frustrated by the uncompleted tasks. After learning about prioritization methods, she began limiting her list to the 3 most important tasks, those that would create the most significant impact if completed. Everything else went on a might-do list that she addressed only after completing her priorities. This approach not only increased her productivity, but also eliminated the constant feeling of falling behind. Many of us have social obligations that drain our energy rather than fulfill us. The half-hearted yes gets us in trouble most of the time. How often do we accept invitations out of obligation rather than genuine desire. These commitments consume not just the actual time spent at the event, but also the mental energy expended in dreading it beforehand. David, an introvert working in sales, found himself accepting nearly every team happy hour and networking event invitation, believing it necessary for his career. The result was burnout and resentment. When he began selectively declining events that didn't energize him or serve a clear purpose, he discovered that quality of participation matters more than quantity. His more enthusiastic presence at fewer events actually strengthened his professional relationships while giving him the restoration time he needed. And then, of course, many of us spend time on maintaining depleting relationships. Not all relationships deserve equal time and energy. Some connections consistently leave us feeling drained, insecure, or inadequate. Elena maintained a friendship with a college roommate who regularly criticized her life choices and compared their achievements. Their monthly brunches always left Elena feeling diminished. When she finally decided to limit this relationship in favor of nurturing connections that inspired and supported her, she experienced a significant boost in self-confidence and emotional well-being. These type of emotional energy drains are taxing not just mentally, but also take their toll on your physical health. Perhaps the most insidious time waster is rumination, replaying past events or imagining future scenarios over which we have no control. This is called rumination and worry. Michael spent hours each week mentally rehearsing discussions with a difficult colleague, imagining various confrontational scenarios that rarely materialized. Through mindfulness practice, he learned to recognize when his mind was engaging in this unproductive pattern and redirect his attention to present tasks. The mental energy he reclaimed allowed him to approach actual interactions with more clarity and composure. Another time waster habit is falling into the comparison trap. In our social media age, comparing our ordinary moments to others' highlighted and usually amplified social media reels has become nearly automatic. This habit not only wastes time, but also robs us of contentment. Aisha found herself regularly comparing her home, career, and appearance to curated images she saw online. By intentionally practicing gratitude for specific aspects of her life and limiting exposure to content that triggered comparison, she gradually redirected that mental energy toward appreciation and personal growth. Now let's talk about material possessions, possessions that demand rather than serve. Every possession we acquire demands some portion of our attention, time, and resources in maintenance, storage, cleaning, and eventual disposal. The burden of ownership of stuff is itself a resource and time guzzler. Robert and Diane, empty nesters, realized their 3,000-square-foot home was consuming enormous time in cleaning, maintenance, and yard work. After downsizing to a smaller home requiring less upkeep, they reclaimed several hours weekly and significantly reduced their stress levels. More importantly, they reduced their trips to the mall and department stores and redirected the mental bandwidth previously dedicated to home maintenance toward travel and creative pursuits they'd postponed for years. The false promise of organization solutions is another time waster habit. Many people waste considerable time and money seeking perfect organizational systems. Whether it's a software that they keep downloading or it's a closet or storage, etc., that they keep rearranging over and over again. Rather than addressing the root issue, that is owning too much stuff, they keep rearranging their belongings. What a time waster. Lisa cycled through various storage solutions for her overflowing wardrobe, spending weekends reorganizing rather than enjoying life. When she finally conducted a ruthless closet edit, keeping only items she truly loved and wore regularly, she eliminated not just the clutter, but also the ongoing mental burden of managing excess. In the office, you'll notice not just a few, but many professional time wasters. Meetings that should be emails are called very frequently. Corporate America's meeting culture consumes billions of dollars in lost productivity annually, with many gatherings lacking clear purpose or outcomes. When a new manager, Mr. Smith, came aboard and became a team leader, he instituted a meeting policy requiring clear agendas, specific goals, and advanced distribution of materials. He eliminated status update meetings in favor of asynchronous communication and reduced standard meeting times from 60 to 30 minutes. His team's productivity soared, and members reported greater job satisfaction with more uninterrupted time for focused work. You may have also noticed that the pursuit of perfection often yields minimal additional value while consuming disproportionate time. Perfection has its value, but perfectionism has diminishing returns beyond a certain point. This perfectionism beyond diminishing returns refers to the phenomenon where continued effort to perfect something yields progressively smaller improvements while consuming disproportionate amounts of time and energy. The principle of diminishing returns comes from economics. Initially, investing resources, like time, produces substantial gains, but eventually, each additional unit of resource yields smaller and smaller benefits. With perfectionism, this manifests as spending hours on minor tweaks that barely improve the final product. Take Sophia, for example. A graphic designer would spend hours making minor adjustments to projects that clients never noticed. By adopting the good enough for its purpose standard and setting time limits for revisions, she increased her output by 40% without any decline in client satisfaction. This pattern is common across many fields, for example. A writer endlessly polishing a paragraph that was already clear and effective. A student revising a 95% paper for hours to try to reach 100%. A homeowner spending an entire weekend getting their lawn perfectly manicured when it already looked good after the first hour. A professional spending excessive time formatting a presentation when the content is what matters most. The key insight is recognizing the point where additional effort stops adding meaningful value. Past this threshold, perfectionism becomes counterproductive because 1. The time could be better spent on other priorities. 2. The delay in completion often costs more than the marginal improvement is worth. 3. The stress and exhaustion from pursuing perfection can diminish overall quality of life. 4. Perfectionism can become a form of procrastination or fear of completion. Learning to identify good enough for its purpose is a crucial skill for being ruthless about what doesn't matter. This doesn't mean embracing mediocrity. It means understanding when something has reached the quality level required for its intended purpose and moving on. Now let's get into some practical strategies that you can use to implement ruthlessness as advised by Seneca. Remember, time is the most important and valuable asset that you have, and you must defend it as such. First, conduct a time audit. For 1 week, meticulously track how you spend each hour. Many people discover that their perception of time allocation differs significantly from reality. This awareness is the first step toward intentional change. Second, define your non-negotiables. Identify the activities, relationships, and pursuits that provide genuine fulfillment and align with your values. These become your priorities against which all time commitments must be measured. Third, practice strategic elimination. Rather than asking, "What should I do today?" ask yourself, "What can I eliminate to make space for what matters most?" Consider using author Greg McKeown's question. If I didn't already own or commit to this, how much would I pay to acquire it now? Fourth, embrace awkwardness and discomfort. Learn to say no. Saying no feels uncomfortable initially, especially for people pleasers. Remember that the momentary discomfort of declining a commitment is far less painful than the extended misery of honoring an obligation that doesn't serve your priorities. Fifth, create friction for distractions. Make time-wasting activities more difficult. Remove social media apps from your phone. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. disable notifications, or use website blockers during focused work periods. And sixth, practice regular pruning. Schedule quarterly reviews of your commitments, possessions, and relationships. What no longer serves you? What could you eliminate to create space for growth in priority areas? There are several counterintuitive benefits of saying no. When you say no, you gain a deeper focus and presence. When we eliminate distractions and non-essential commitments, we can bring full attention to what remains. This depth of engagement leads to greater satisfaction and effectiveness. You have enhanced creativity. Creative insights often emerge during periods of mental spaciousness, something increasingly rare in our overbooked lives. By ruthlessly protecting unscheduled time, we create conditions conducive to innovative thinking. Your relationships improve and become deeper. When we invest in fewer, more meaningful connections, rather than spreading ourselves thin across many superficial ones, we experience greater intimacy and support. We reduce decision fatigue. Each decision depletes our mental energy. By eliminating unnecessary choices, what to wear, what to watch, which invitation to accept, we preserve cognitive resources for decisions that truly matter. And finally, we achieve greater autonomy. Perhaps most significantly, being ruthless about what doesn't matter returns a sense of agency to our lives. Rather than feeling perpetually reactive to external demands, we become architects of our time and attention. In conclusion, the art of ruthlessness is really about learning meaningful limitation. In a culture that celebrates more and equates busyness with importance, choosing less requires courage. Yet Seneca's wisdom reminds us that a life governed by external expectations and fleeting impulses is not truly our own. Being ruthless to things that don't matter isn't about asceticism or deprivation. Rather, it's about creating space for abundance in what truly counts: deep relationships, meaningful work, personal growth, and moments of genuine joy and presence. The most fulfilled people aren't those who do the most, own the most, or please the most people. They're those who have carefully curated their lives to focus on what matters most to them. In limiting what they give their time and energy to, they paradoxically expand the richness of their experience. As you move forward, consider regular reflection on this question. If my time on Earth were unexpectedly shortened, would I regret having given so much of myself to this? Let the answer guide your choices, big and small. In doing so, you reclaim ownership of your life, ensuring that when you reach its end, you won't feel, as Seneca warned, that you are dying before your time. If you found value in these insights about prioritizing what truly matters, please consider sharing this message with others who might benefit from it. Your simple act of passing this wisdom forward could help someone else reclaim precious time and energy in their own life. Thank you for investing your attention, one of your most valuable resources, in this reflection. If this resonated with you, please show your support with a like and subscribe for more content on living with intention and purpose.